I'm the manifest boss, babe.
What if I told you that everything you desire is already waiting for you? You just have to claim it. Welcome to the Manifest Boss Babe podcast, where we turn mindset shifts into massive success. I'm Amanda, a high-performance mindset coach, manifestation queen, and entrepreneur, and I am obsessed with helping you create the life you've been dreaming of. In this podcast, we talk about mindset, manifestation, business, and how to become your 2.0 version. Welcome to the very first episode of Manifest Boss Babe. I'm so glad to have you here and welcome on my journey. So a little bit about me. I was born and raised on a farm in small town Saskatchewan, Canada, where I had two brothers and a whole bunch of farm animals. I lived really close to my grandparents, and my parents were farmers with grain and animals. I grew up with the sense of hard work and the mentality of we have to work hard for everything that we have. And I was that kid who believed in magic. I saw angel numbers all the time, 1111, and I was always thinking of asking something higher than me. I didn't know what it was, but it was like I would ask certain things to show up and then they would. And I'm like, wow, that's kind of cool. Like, for example, when I was seeing my boyfriend at the time, he was living out of town, and I was like, okay, if I hear this song on the radio on the bus when I get on it, I'm going to see him today. And sure enough, that radio would be playing that song and I would see him that day. Like, weird synchronicities would show up in my life when I was younger. And even when I was really little, I would always believe in the penny in the pond. You know, when you take your penny and you flick it, make a wish and throw it into the pond. I believed in that stuff. And the angel numbers, the 1111, I was always making wishes and believing in that stuff. So even when I was really little, I believed in a higher being, a higher knowing, but I wasn't sure what it was. I remember wanting to experience spirituality, going to church. So I would go with my grandma and grandpa. My parents weren't churchgoers, so I was wanting more. So I asked to go to church with them. And when I was going to church with them, I felt something different. I felt seen. I felt like a good girl. It was weird. Like, it was the weirdest thing ever. I just felt so good. And as I grew up with society and everything, I had a lot of insecurities. And I grew up feeling very insecure about my looks, about who I was, that I wasn't smart enough and I wasn't pretty enough and I couldn't get the boys. And I wasn't good enough for the teams because I was never picked. Even though being in a small town, it wasn't even like I had to try out. It was, I sat on the bench and I was never good enough. So my self-confidence levels was minute and I did not feel good about myself whatsoever. So growing up into high school, when I met my first boyfriend, it was actually at my job. I was a waitress and he was a trucker and he was from out of town. And I'm like, oh, he doesn't know who I am and he doesn't know my past and my insecurities. And we started dating and I clung on to him. And I moved away, went to school. Then I moved to my current town that I'm in right now for a job after school. And he followed me here and we got married and had kids and bought the house and did all the things that you're supposed to do right after school, like society tells you to do. You know, you graduate, you go off to post-secondary schooling, then you get a job, then you get married, buy the house, have the kids, get the dog. Like, I did it all according to plan, as per se, right? But the thing was, I didn't even know who I was. I didn't know who true Amanda was. I was living in codependency. I was a very insecure person. And it wasn't fair to my husband because he didn't even know how to love me because I didn't even know how to love myself. I wasn't accepting love from him because I didn't love myself and I didn't feel worthy of it. And I felt so insecure and so helpless. And I felt like I was never good enough. So I see now, as I've done the healing work, that I took that as a sign that I wasn't good enough for anybody. And I was always trying to proving myself to my parents that I was good enough, because I didn't feel like they acknowledged it. So I was constantly living in acceptance, and I was a people pleaser because I wanted to impress people so they would like me. It was completely ridiculous. I would even act like certain people so they would like me. I would laugh like them. I would act like them just so they would accept me. And I was not being the true, authentic person. This spiraled into complete depression. I was living on an acreage with my husband and my 2 babies. One was a toddler, one was a baby. And I was stuck out on this acreage by myself because my husband was working constantly, nonstop, trying to provide for us while I was on mat leave. And I spiraled hard and fast because I was all alone. I didn't have anybody to talk to. And nobody talks about postpartum depression. They don't talk about those physical changes you go through your body, never mind the hormones and the emotional state you go through. So when you're stuck out in the middle of nowhere, all by yourself, it's scary. And I spiraled hard. I wanted to just be gone. I thought the world would be a better place without me, because who needed me? They wouldn't even notice I was gone because nobody even saw me. I was unseen. I was unheard. So I remember making a plan that I was going to drop my girls off at the babysitter's, and she would take care of them. And then I would get back onto the highway, and I would just find the first semi I could find and just end it real fast and quick. So then they wouldn't get hurt, but I would be done in a hurry. And it scared the shit out of me. I'm not going to lie, but I'm like, but I got to do it. And then all of a sudden I realized, who the hell is going to take care of my little girls? Because my husband was working constantly all the time. He can't do that, plus take care of 2 kids. So I thought, oh my God, who's going to raise them? And then who's going to be there for them during those huge milestones? And I'm going to miss those milestones. And are they going to think that I didn't love them because I chose to leave? That was a huge awakening for me. I was like, what are you doing, Amanda? Smarten up, get your shit together, because your family needs you and you need you. So then I made this huge decision to smarten up and get my life in order. So I reached out to a therapist, counselor, got the help I needed, got on some antidepressants so then I could function at a normal state. I started exercising and eating properly. I showed up for myself every day. And not every day was 100%, but I just showed up consistently every single day. And I started feeling good about myself. And then I met people that are in that industry. And actually, I was really interested in hard athletics, extreme training. And a friend of mine, her husband was a firefighter. And he loved mentoring people. So she kind of introduced us. And I remember him thinking, I remember her telling me that he was like, as if, because he looked at me, because I was almost 300 pounds when I had my first daughter. 300 pounds. So I was a big girl and I was trying to change my life. So when he took me in, he was training me and I worked my ass off because it felt so good to see that I'm capable of doing hard things. And I kept showing up because I remember the first workout, I remember sitting outside the fire hall. I thought, what are you doing, Amanda? These guys are so fit and you are fat. You are unfit fat person. How are you going to do this? But I went in and I showed up and I died nearly doing that workout. But then I went back and I kept going back over and over and over again. And I kept getting stronger and stronger. And before you know it, I actually applied to become a firefighter auxiliary because I could do it. I went through all the training and I applied. I got in for the testing part of it, and I actually did it. I was so proud of myself for pushing myself past things that I never thought I could ever achieve. And I never even thought in a million years I would even apply to be a firefighter auxiliary. But I did it. I didn't get the job, but I still proved to myself that I am capable of doing incredible things. Anyway, after that, I decided I want to become a personal trainer because I feel so good. And those people that helped inspire me to push me hard, I want to be that for those people. I want to help people because I needed help and I got it. So I need to help people now. So I became a personal trainer. I took a class through ISSA and I went to CanFit Pro. That was a Canadian version. They were both incredible. I met amazing people taking those classes too. I became a personal trainer and I did boot camps with a friend of mine and I absolutely loved it. The community, meeting new people and just seeing them show up for themselves was so rewarding, and being that support person for them. And sometimes they didn't even want to come work out. They just needed to get out. They needed a sense of community. They needed to be connected with people. And now looking back at that, I'm like, wow, I created that for them. I created this community. It's pretty incredible. Fast forward, I decided I wanted to help people shift their mindset because I know how important it is to wake up every morning living a life in abundance, living life with gratitude. Because when you wake up every morning hating your life and just feeling so drained, and it's like a groundhog day, every single day is you wake up, you running late, you're rushing, you pick up takeout, and then you come home, you're exhausted, and you sit on the couch, binge watch TV while snacking, drinking alcohol, or the chewables, whatever it is, just to numb yourself. And then you go to bed and you're scrolling until 2 a.m. and then you sleep in, and it's just like a constant rat race every single day. I know how that felt because I lived that life. And now I wake up every morning and I sit on my couch with my cup of coffee and I sit with my gratitude journal and I write about what I'm grateful for, what happened the day before, the things that I'm looking forward to, and the things that I want to happen in my life. I write it all down. I just let the pen flow on the paper and just get expansive and get creative. And then I sit and read a book for a little bit. So then I'm getting myself more knowledge so then I can be a better person every single day. I want to learn more. I want to expand. And then I go to the gym. I hit the gym and I move my body and I make myself stronger every single day, drinking a ton of water. And then when I work out, I feel super good. So I fuel my body with healthy, nutritious food, eating tons of protein and veggies, whole foods. My kids were kind of teasing me that my house is an ingredient house. And I'm like, what does that mean? They said, you don't have any snacks that are easily ready. Like you have to make something. And I'm like, that is the best compliment as a mom I could ever get. Because that means I don't just have shit in my house for them to eat. They have to make something like healthy. It was great. Anyways, back to the manifesting of how I decided to become a manifestation coach and what intrigued me about it. Like I said, when I was little, I truly believed in magic and I believed in the wishing for what you want and actually getting it. I didn't know how, I didn't know why, but I had this like inkling even when I was a kid. So it was introduced to me from a friend who must have got this vibe that I was into this stuff. She sent me the DVD of Rhonda Byrne's The Secret, and I watched it. My mind was blown away. I was like, oh my God, this is exactly what I was thinking about when I was younger, and like how things can just come into your life. I didn't know how. So I started really researching into it. and realizing about the law of attraction and the universe, and how if you focus on something, it will come to you. And everybody thinks it was woo-woo. So I actually, when I first started this whole journey, I was all excited about it and pushing it through, and people were backlashing me saying, oh, you're woo-woo, and I was in this new age thing. But they don't realize the science behind manifestation. You're manifesting all the time. You're creating your own reality by your own perception. And like, they can argue this all they want, but all the bad things that they get in their life is because they're expecting it. They're expecting another bad thing to happen. You know, they always say, oh, bad things come in three, and then one happens, another one happens. And that's usually by number two, they're like, oh, where's the third one? So they're already expecting it to come through. So it comes through because they were expecting it. So they manifested it. So I want to really dumb this down for you. Manifestation is the product of what you put your focus on. What it does is it activates your reticular activating system. So when you're focusing on something, all of the other things disappear, and then you are laser focused on what you're putting your attention to. They talk about this as like the red car theory. When you are wanting to buy, let's say, a red Jetta, you've never seen a red Jetta before in your life. And then now all of a sudden you want to buy one. So that is all you see. Everywhere you go, you're seeing all these red Jettas. You're like, well, these weren't here before. They were. But your mind just filters through it because it's not important to you. So you don't see it. But when it's important to you, you can see them all over the place. Same thing with your name. Your name is the most important thing you can hear. So when you hear your name, your attention is fired up. You're like, what happened? Who said that? What are they saying? It's because it's important to you. So you hear it. Your reticular activating system is on fire. So when there is something that you want, you laser focus on it and you will find it because it's out there. The whole universe is abundant. Whatever you want is out there. So if it's not created, let's just say you have this new idea, like this invention or whatever it is, like this new idea. And you're like, well, this doesn't exist, so how can I get it? You're correct. But when you're laser focused on it and that is something that you want and desire, the universe is going to provide you with opportunities to get you closer to that desire. There might be a job, it might be people, it might be a learning opportunity, whatever it is, it's a stepping stone to get you in that direction. And it's not linear, you guys. It is zigzag, it is non-linear. You might be going from here to there, but it's all in the direction to your final product. Yes, you have to be so aware of your surroundings. And you have to be open to opportunities, because if you're not aware of your surroundings and open to opportunities, you have your blinders on, you're not going to see them. The doors are not going to open for you because you're not willing to look for it and be courageous enough to step outside of your comfort zone. Because quite often, this involves courage and stepping outside of the comfort zone and being uncomfortable to get what you want. So what I do with my clients is I teach them to create a vision. What do you want? What is it that you want in the whole world? And there could be so many things that you want, but I get them to really sit down with themselves and think, if I was living my perfect life, what would that look like? Who would I become if I had this perfect life? How would I think? How would I act? What would I look like? And how would I feel if I had these things? And then I tell those people to become that person, embody being that person who has that already. And when you do that, you start acting like that person. And when you start acting like that person, you start doing the things that person does in order to get it. I want you to think, be, do, have. You have to become that person that has those things before you get it. and then you're going to do the things that person does in order to have it. Because we always have this mentality, oh, once I have the money, then I can do those things and then I'll be happy or I will become this. Guess what? You're not going to ever get the money because you're not being the person who gets the money. You have to become that person, embody it, because you're going to do the things that's going to get you the money. And in the journey, in the process, you're going to have it. That is how it works. You're having it throughout the journey, and that's how you're living your life of abundance, of happiness, of joy, is through the journey of having it, by doing it. For example, if you want to find your person, who do you want in your life? What does that person look like? How do they show up for you? How do they act? How do they treat you? How do you feel when you're with them? I want you to become that person. Become that person that loves you so much and that treats you so good and that you do all those fun things. Because guess what? You're going to love yourself so much that you're going to attract that person into your life. You're going to be aligned in that same frequency. You're going to actually attract that person into your life. Another thing is, if you want to transform your body, you're not just going to have it and then you're going to be that person, right? You're not going to have the body and then you're going to be that person that acts that way. You have to become that person before you can have it. You have to be the person that thinks like the healthy, fit person does in order to get it. For example, I'm doing this right now. I have never been a runner. I've had the limiting belief that I don't have the body of a runner and that I can't run because I have bigger legs and whatever. I had all these stories made up in my head that I wasn't ever a runner, that I wasn't an athlete because of high school. Anyways, I had the seed planted that I want to run this half marathon. I think it's completely ridiculous right now in it, but I have to become a half marathon runner right now. I have to make those decisions to act upon it. And then guess what? I'm going to run the half marathon. It's going to happen, but I have to embody being that person. So what does a half marathon runner do? They go for runs. They put on the shoes and they go out there and they build up their endurance and they eat properly and they get proper sleep. They drink plenty of water and they take care of their body. That is what they do. And guess what? They run a half marathon at the end of it. That is the be, do, and have, which is what I teach all of my clients and everybody in my circle. You have to become that person, do the things, and then you're going to have what it is that you want. Hence, manifesting. If this resonated with you, I want you to screenshot this episode, tag me on Instagram at Manifest Boss Babe, and let me know what you're working on right now. And make sure you send this to a friend so then you can get them fired up and then we can start manifesting the lives that we desire.